We all know that Yamaha is the king of corporate, and we can obviously see that in the feature set built into the DM7, but does it have vibe? Can it make a musical act sound amazing? I'd like to posit a resounding yes. I think the upgrades to the channel strip, the premium rack, as well as the ability to use external VSTs at your leisure with no licensing, no server, no nothing, is a game changer. So today we're gonna unpack some drums. I'm gonna pipe in the stems into the desk and show you before and after in my exact processing workflow with a few of the new key features in the DM7. So for a quick sneak peek, I'm going to show you a couple of A/Bs between the before and after processing, then we'll jump into the routing scheme. Let's first dive into the DM7 and our playback setup here. We're going to step through each individual channel, what's happening, how it's going into a group, compare some of the inserts and processing, how we're using the USB card to send our drum bus out into some other of my favorite processors that aren't available here. Excited to share that with you. Before we jump into the nitty-gritty on the processing on the desk, I want to give an overview of the routing structure just so that we are all on the same page. Again, in the previous video, we mentioned that the console has a built-in USB card. It is 18 in, 18 out bi-directional. So I'm actually using this machine over here to play back my drum stems into the desk. So if you're wanting to do virtual sound check and you maybe don't have Dante virtual sound card, easy way to do it as long as your channel count is 18 channels or under. So I'm playing my drum stems individually into the desk here on each individual channel. I got kick, snare top, snare bottom, hi-hat, tom 1, tom 2, overhead left, overhead right. I've also got a drum plate bus set up and then a drum bus, and everything's being summed up in that drum bus. So that's the process signal path that you are hearing. And as we A/B it against the dry signal, I'm double patching it to another set of channels with no processing on them so we could do a fair A/B comparison. I also have an insert later on that's sending it out the USB card as an insert into Gig Performer, which is actually hosting a couple plugins that are pretty fun that we're going to come back to here in a little bit, coming back into the desk, and then finally played out of Dante into another computer over here that's capturing the audio. So it's over the river and through the woods, if you will, to get around, if you will. But I like to have that amount of flexibility in the desk to have the USB-C card and less hardware to use. The first feature set I want to highlight is how Yamaha's really spruced up the built-in channel strip. So you're familiar with the EQ algorithms here that we have to us. We have the precise, aggressive, smooth, legacy, just like we did on the CL desks. We also have the high-pass filter right here with more filter slopes, which is pretty great. I also have 4 insert points. It's a single insert point, but with 4 slots in it, which is pretty cool. You used to have 2 separate ones with only 1 processor, but now you have 4. I'm just using 1 on the kick channel. I've got the 5033 mounted here as an extra EQ going on. But then moving on to the dynamics processing section on Dyne 2, I had the DBX Comp 260, which is a 160 clone. And then I can move through and also bring up the FET limiter. So this is similar to 1176. Then also the diode bridge compressor, which is similar to an older Neve. So I have a lot of flexibility built in here on the channel strip. So I was putting this drum mix together. I was auditioning each of these and see which one made the most sense. So snare, I ended up with the DBX as well. On snare bottom, I was crushing it with the FET. Hi-hat, I wasn't doing very much compression. And the toms actually have this out. And I moved and really liked what I had with the Neve 5043 compressor. So I dialed it in, had a little bit of a warmer vibe for the toms. I liked what it brought there. Also using the precise algorithm here on the toms. Moving through, the second one also had the other channel of that Neve compressor. Then overheads, I also used the diode bridge compressor, again a Neve circuit, but a different flavor than the Portico series. So I really love that all of that is available to us at our fingertips at each channel, and I'm no longer having to eat up a bunch of inserts to get some of my favorite processors. They really do sound great. Feel free to mess with them. Now moving on to the premium rack, I've already touched on it a little bit at what I have mounted. If I go over here, I have Tom 1, Tom 2, again here with this Neve compressor. And then on my drum bus, I also have another instance of this EQ. I was able to add some low-end beef and some top-end snap. This really helped bring the drums and cymbals together, having that 18K shelf to make it sound expensive. I really like this sound. And then I thought it needed something a little bit extra, so I'm going to move on to the final insert, which is over the USB-C card, which is a VST. So if I select my drum bus, go here to the insert slots, first is that EQ. Second, here I have USB 13 on the outboard, and on the right channel, if I move over here, I have it on USB 14. So this is moving out of the console over here into Gig Performer. And I've got the Vertigo VSC2 from Brainworks, which is an amazing drum compressor. Got a ratio 4:1, attack time of 30 milliseconds, moderate amount of compression. And then I have the console from Analog Obsession. So this is emulating, pushing into the bus on a console, a little bit of saturation. I like that vibe, just added a little bit of analog flair, coming right back into the desk into here. Again, I don't have to have an external server, something proprietary stuck in one single ecosystem. I'm not even running Yamaha's VST rack software. I can use any plugin host that I want with any set of plugins, so I love having this flexibility. And again, since it's built-in USB-C, it's fast. I'm running at 48 here, and my round-trip latency is still 1.5 milliseconds, as I have my buffer size way down at 64 samples, and these are 0 millisecond latency plugins, so it's coming back in nice and quick. Now that I've walked you through the routing and feature sets I want, let's do a comparison of the pre and post processing. So I'm going to go channel by channel and slowly add them in. So kick, add in snare top, add in the overheads and toms, and playing a similar section just so you can see what you are capable of with what's built into the desk with a little bit of help from a couple VSTs. So first up here we got kick. I'm going to go dry and then processed. And mind you, we are hearing the processing all the way through the drum bus, so the compressions on the drum bus, the EQ that's there, as well as the EQ on the kick is all happening. And now let's bring in the snare top microphone, dry then processed. Brought in our snare bottom mic as well, and now let's bring in the overheads, as well as the toms to get a full mix. And lastly, let me bring in the reverb I have set up. I fine-tuned a plate that I have, and this is just the kick, snare top, and both toms, and a little bit of the overheads go into it. So start with dry, move to wet. There you have it, a quick tour of what you're able to do with a moderately good computer, a couple VSTs, the DM7, and a little bit of know-how on the processing. Again, you will have available to you this console file as well as these drum stems, so you could start playing around with these yourself. I'm Michael Curtis. Honored to be here with the VOD3 event production, helping you get to know the DM7 a little bit better. Please let me know your favorite processor that you found in this video in the comments below. What are you excited about to get your hands on, making your drum sound sweet for your next gig? Thanks for watching.